Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hopefully loud and clear. Everybody will be pushing like this, so there will be a microphone. Let's just first. I wanted to say hello. I'm Milind. I'm director here at Kickstart. Really excited to have you all here. It's really great to finally have an in-person pitch day again. It's been quite a short break from these types of events. Shout out to EF for letting us use their space for the night and bring back these sort of events. Just before we dive into the pitches, I just wanted to say a couple words about Kickstart, why we are here right now, and then I'll hand over to Jamie, explain a bit more about what's going to happen here tonight. Well, yes, tonight. So Kickstart was founded with the idea of bringing together students and other students from other universities, and also to bring these students interested in entrepreneurship closer to the startup ecosystem itself. We've been running programs for 5 years, always introducing exciting companies, exciting professionals to students, and sort of allowing them to, through these programs, learn about the fundamentals of building a company, as well as exploring the space that surrounds the startups. And yep, just kind of our main mission here, as I said before. And yeah, let's take a couple slides. Yes, but sort of just to show how we've been approaching these goals. About 50% of the graduated cohorts are currently working within the startup ecosystem, either in supporting roles or working on building their own startup, either coming from the program or kind of running a new one, or within other startups as well. And yes, kind of winding back, here we are right now at the end of the program. We've been through these 12 weeks. We've started that early February with team formation. We've actually had Ali do a workshop on team formation, and then from there onwards, up until kind of end of week 3, we've formed all of our teams that are here right now with some slight iterations. And then from there onwards, it was first a bit about ideation, then we've kind of started pushing the conversation towards talking to customers and problem validation. At the end, towards week 7, 8 was when we started talking about designing a prototype, building a prototype, and workshop in the bubble, where it was no code. And then at the end, we've arrived here on our pitch day today. Cohort is mainly around these 6 industries. There are going to be, not everybody's going to be pitching tonight, unfortunately, as most of the students here know exam season has already started. But sort of, we felt that it is important that we bring together this community that we have, and kind of moving forwards. With this program, we sort of conducted the second phase of our changes that we've been making to Kickstart strategically, and soon be launching our third phase, which will be an exciting one because we have never had a summer program before, and it is going to be quite the ride. We're going to be tripling our team size in the next couple of weeks, and looking forward to that. But right now, it's more about pitching. And yes, I'm going to be handing over to Jeremy to say a bit about tonight.
Yes, so now that all the exciting stuff about Kickstart is out of the way, I'm just going to run through the timings for the rest of the day, evening. So first we've just had it. I'll welcome an intro by Balin. And then we'll move on to our pitches. So each startup already knows they've got 3 minutes to pitch, and then we'll have questions from our judges, but also it's an open floor. If anyone wants to stick their hand up and ask some questions, please feel free. We will be moderating it, so we'll have about 3 to 5 minutes maximum for the questions there. And then at the end of the day, we'll break up and go into networking sessions so that you guys can all meet each other, talk to each other, see if there's anything else you want to interesting. But firstly, I'd like to introduce our amazing judges that I've already mentioned. We've got Ruth Galvin from Blue Adventures, Alice Suskin from FRCU. You guys may remember as Dana mentioned, she did a workshop for us quite early on. And then Darren Murphy from Atla, who's also incredible. They've all got massive experience and they're going to have really interesting events, and I can't wait for you to see them. But moving forward, the pitch, the prize. Hold your breath. I know you can see it on the screen, but I'm saying hold your breath. It's going to be a morning by our Summer Accelerator sponsor, Deloitte Ventures. They're going to take you around workshops around different labs and private and blockchain are some examples. And then you also get taken to lunch. So you get a free lunch. So that's what you're all working towards. I know the last 3 months have been really hard work, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have done so far, but the free food is what we're all really looking for. There are snacks and drinks over there during the break, so if you guys want to grab them. We have free food now as well. But yeah, other than that, we go ahead and pitch. We're going to hand it off to Nova Tuition, and we're going to give them a minute to set up, but I hope you guys are excited to see the pitches coming up.
Hi, I'm Amma, founder of Nova Tuition.
I'm Kiara, head of marketing at Nova Tuition.
Nova Tuition enables students to reach their full potential. So how did Nova Tuition begin? Nova Tuition began when I was a maths tutor. I noticed that many of my students from comprehensive state schools not only needed help improving their maths skills, but they needed help improving their confidence, their resilience, and self-discipline. As an attendee of a comprehensive state school myself, I related to the plight of my students. The problem with education currently is that class sizes are so big. On average, there are about 30 students in a class, so inevitably, some students fall by the wayside. Secondly, educational institutions are mainly grade focused and don't focus on developing children's meta skills. Thirdly, there's the forgotten middle. These are the middle income earners of society. They don't qualify for the free education initiatives provided by the government, however, they cannot afford the expensive tuition that currently exists. So this is when we build Nova Tuition, a holistic approach to education. We have tuition enhanced personal development training, we have monthly personal development workshops, and we also have fun online after school clubs. So some of the milestones and tractions we've achieved at Nova Tuition is that we have an excellent rating on Trustpilot, we've had over 500 sign-ups to our webinar, we have 50 customers using our MVP, we have 40 dedicated tutors on our platform, and last month we won UCL Entrepreneurs VC competition.
There are currently around 10.5 million students across the UK, so that's a huge market for us to tap into. We're attracting a community of students through our partnership with some famous TikTok influencers who inspire students to persevere with their goals. We also have referral schemes and market via social media. Our team are passionate about reducing educational inequalities. We have a diverse set of skills, from marketing to leadership to technology. Our vision for the future. We are seeking an investment to build our platform, and would also love to bring on an educational advisor. By the end of 2022, we hope to launch public speaking, graphic design and coding club to help promote and foster children's existing and newfound talents.
Nova means bright star, and we look forward to growing the Nova Tuition community to enable all children to shine brightly. Thank you for listening.
We'll have a couple of questions from judges or
I'll kick off. Thank you so much. That was really, really amazing to hear. It sounds like such an interesting problem that you're trying to solve. What I'd love to know in a bit more detail is like, what does the actual solution look like for the specific individual or groups of individuals that you're solving this for? So like, if you were to get all the funding in the world, like what would the school child or whoever it is that is your type of customer experience that would solve the problem?
Yeah, so if we had all the money in the world, we would really love to scale. So currently we're using free apps to do this, such as Zoom, WhatsApp for cardless. So we'd love to have like an all-inclusive platform that had this. So what's the benefit we believe that students get from our platform?
Yeah.
Is that they have the standard tuition, but at the end of tuition there's the personal development. And this happens in the form of goal setting. We help them set weekly timetables, and we give them strategies to build their confidence and resilience. So currently we have 50 children, but we really love the money to like scale beyond that.
It would be one final thing for me, it would be amazing also to hear like a specific customer insight or story about someone who's engaged with this already and like how their trajectory has changed given your product.
Yeah, so we had one student, his name was Alex, and his mum came to us saying that, especially after COVID, her son had lost all confidence in school, particularly regarding maths. But then after one session with Nova Tuition, the mum told us, like, this is a true story, he was literally jumping on the sofa that he knew Pythagoras. And the fact that like he could go into school and be confident is that something that we would want to help children achieve. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe just one question. So in terms of the personal development side as well, does the platform connect more like mentors as well as tutors, or how does the personal development side work?
Yeah, so currently it's the tutors that provide the personal development side. But as we grow, we really want to have, we want to split them up actually. We want to have mentors that are just focused on the confidence, the resilience, and focus building. So yeah, one day we hope to get mentors that are just focused on that. But right now we're having like a hybrid approach.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jamie, this is Alex C, and this is Alex T. So, COVID affected everyone differently, and as a university student, the thing I found most challenging was keeping my focus and not procrastinating. And now, the solution that I came up with was using FaceTime with a peer to keep me accountable. So this inspired us to create a sort of purpose-built solution. So how much of a problem is it? Is it just me? We surveyed, we did some primary research, and we found 70% of students say they are a 4 or a 5 out of 5 in terms of procrastination, and on average they get distracted and go on their phone every 20 minutes. We actually found 98% of people get distracted by their phone. Just to top it off, we also surveyed if universities are doing enough, and we found that 64% of people say universities are not doing enough for procrastination.
Given that 15% of students use study apps, accountability arrives at the perfect time to provide a student-centric, peer-to-peer mobile app. In terms of initial research, 83% of students say that they would use a free anti-procrastination app, and moreover, 59% pay for it if it proves effective. So in terms of competition, we have 3 competitors, although what they do differently is they require advanced booking. They also put you into Zooms up to 300 people, removing the accountability aspect. So how do we differentiate ourselves? Well, we decided we're going to create a matching algorithm where you get matched with your ultimate study buddy. This is done using study preferences, such as you prefer to use the Pomodoro technique, you're an undergraduate, and then we match you. We then put you into something like a Zoom call. We haven't decided what we're going to use yet, but something along the lines of a back-end plugin, and then we'll deal with the front-end interface. And our second key feature is the feedback feature. At the end of each call, you get the opportunity to connect with and rate the other student in terms of productivity. And in the long run, we aim to envisage that we can build a community aspect into this, where students can discuss mental health in order to avoid the isolation that has come with this new digital learning environment.
So we're pitching with three main aims. The first of them is funding. We're looking at about £35,000 to develop and maintain the app and the platform. Then we're looking kind of for another £10,000 to focus on building and developing our network, which brings me on to the next 2 points. The first of which is that we're looking for advice around edtech commercialisation, around strategy, around marketing in this field, and then more importantly, we're really looking to increase our outreach and our network, because getting a variety of opinions, new perspectives, new ideas from various educational institutions, charities, teachers, tutors, is going to be really important in developing our platform. And that brings me on to our roadmap. In the near term, we're looking at continuing our user-focused design process and our market research. That involves partnering up with universities and charities to get those new opinions. And then over the longer term, we're looking to optimize our network aspects and the network of students that we have. And that entails the alpha testing cohort, which we'll look at over the kind of 6 to 12-month period once we've developed our MVP.
Thanks.
Maybe just one quick question for me. With the team that you kind of have at the moment, you talked about needing access to marketing and skills at level. What sort of areas within the team do you guys really need to focus on? Or is there any potential gaps beyond that?
Sure. I'll take this one. So we're looking to bring in someone on the more technical side to help us with the MVP, because between us, we probably will need an external developer on that side to develop the MVP.
And then furthermore, I suppose, the general awareness of the edtech market is something that we're looking to build on, and obviously that comes through the three of us and our outreach who we can speak to in the market, but to develop that commercial awareness, I think is going to be really important as well, which might require some synergy with external bodies.
Thanks.
I have a question about the solution. I'd love to know, like, what evidence you had gathered that led you from the part of realising that, like, when you're trying to work and, like, actually maybe sometimes you FaceTime your friends, to realising that actually the best possible solution is FaceTiming someone who you don't know, or a Zoom call with someone to increase productivity. Like, what evidence did you gather during that time from your conversations with customers that led you to believe that that was the best possible solution for this problem?
I suppose we used competitors, we tried them out, because we had our theory, I guess, through FaceTime. I guess that's just anecdotal evidence, and we used the competitors, and we found that was very effective, but we thought the competitors are tailored to professionals, and we thought if we made a student version, we could make it student-centric, and we can improve on the competitors, and we have our own space for this because we're aiming at the students and not the professionals.
I think, there you go.
Just a quick question on some of the testing and customer testing and things. Did you do any of that customer testing to see the results on how people found having the calls? Or?
Having the calls, sorry.
Yeah, like if someone was having a Zoom call or kind of that video call with someone, was there a percentage that they felt they were more focused, or kind of the productivity improved, or any kind of data points around those?
So our problem validation has been centred around do people procrastinate and how much of a problem it is. We haven't looked at people who currently use some sort of one-to-one video accountability solution. We haven't surveyed how effective they find that.
I think that as well comes once we start to have a more refined sense of what our MVP actually looks like, because there are obviously all of these broad concerns. There's the network aspect as well between students, and we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like. And as this comes, as the product develops and stuff, hopefully we'll get a more holistic sense of what it means, and we can give off a better, or have a more productive conversation with potential clients and the market en masse about how they can find the best solutions within that one-to-one video platform.
Yeah, I think, sorry, just that, the whole point is that we're going to continuously test, iterate, and build on that feedback, and then through that we can deliver the optimal platform for it.
evening. Today we present to you Nexus, where we hope to essentially change the way students network across universities. So, Joe, Joe's at university. First year, wants to join societies, expand his network, and essentially accelerate his future career prospects and really get insight into what the job market is like before he leaves university. But the main issue being that he essentially lacks the connections, lacks the confidence to grow our network, and there's sort of a lack of understanding in terms of what's out there for him to really explore and make the most of his time at university.
And just like Joe, there's millions of other students out there who are facing the same issue as he is. And from what we have identified, the three key hurdles to building a successful connection is the awkward aspect, it's inefficient, and it's sparse. So while higher students start to actually care about expanding about their networks and stuff, while students are becoming more aware of the benefits and also speaking to new people, it interests them. So we all have probably spoke to a person in the past, maybe slide into an Instagram DM here and there, message someone in the ding, stuff like that. I'm certain all of us here have felt that awkward aspect in there. It's weird, it's awkward, and we want to change this.
But what if there was a better platform? A platform that allowed you to navigate, join, and communicate with other student communities more easily and efficiently? Well, enter Nexus. Nexus is a platform that allows you to join nodes, create nests, with the purpose of breaking down those barriers that many students face and provide them with the full capability to network without those awkwardness or inefficient elements. It's also a platform that allows students to monetize their resources and skills alongside this networking. Our mission is simple. Whether you're advertising a new society, you're finding a job, or you want to monetize your resources or skills, we want to empower all students to proactively grow their network and fulfill their full potential.
So how is Nexus different? As the diagram shows, Nexus is uniquely placed as the only platform that is geared towards students and also focused on making the networking experience satisfying or maximize customer satisfaction. And how do we hope to monetize Nexus? We've identified three main revenue streams, which are sponsored ads, working with content creators, and then partnering with recruiters. And how does our business model help us estimate how much revenue we'll be making? There are about 3.4 million students or university students in the UK, and using that figure, we have calculated the estimated revenue from advertising to be about 50 million once Nexus is fully functioning.
So we believe that our team, given the past experiences we had at different corporates, we have both the commercial and technical skill sets required to really grow Nexus and let it achieve its full potential. So in terms of next steps, really focused on trying to complete the MVP, to have something that's testable, talk to different people at different universities as well, get their feedback, small focus groups as well, and then hopefully iterate on that sort of initial MVP. Have the confidence to try and secure corporate partnerships, that will go into our partnerships and revenue stream. And finally, further develop the user base to its potential. In terms of what we really need right now, the technical mentor, someone with a pure technical background can help us really build actual community and feedback on our strategy. So thank you for listening.
Arkansas. I would love to know what traction looks like, so how many people you have engaged already or what your kind of milestones look like for that.
So our platform actually isn't live yet. We came up with this idea like 2 months ago, and then immediately after that we started doing some problem validation testing. So we talked to a wide variety of people. And then we really got to understand what the main pain points in networking were. And then after that, we started to sort of work on our MVP. We're still working on it, and we aim to deploy it at the end of May. So that's when we'll start getting that traction, that feedback. But to answer the question, we don't have any information as to that.
can ask a very quick follow-up question also. The slide on differentiation was really, really helpful. I'd love to know an even more specific question though, which was why are students who are using LinkedIn dissatisfied with the service or the product that LinkedIn offers, like, for example, the features that they offer within groups or...
Yeah, I guess the main thing we tried to sort of, at least even back to the point validation stage when we kind of decided what we should actually be focusing on, the whole networking picture. We saw that LinkedIn, the main issue was the sort of peer to professional networking aspect. Also, professionals were really busy trying to sort of reply to every comment. So we thought that would make a lot of sense for people to really realize the value of networking between students rather than actually forcing the interaction of professionals between students. Actually, that's what we think Nexus really value adds, is forcing that interaction between students across different universities, keeping them in the loop with different jobs going on, opportunities at different societies. And I think that's something that's kind of missing. The closest sort of example we have is student group, for example. But that's just quite sparse. Everything's a bit all over the place. It's catered to people who are actually trying to get into university as well. So it's something really focused on trying to really engage the sort of student community when it comes to networking.
Thank you so much.
If I could just add on to Maynard real quick. LinkedIn, I think, provides a really good, the product that LinkedIn provides is really good at, giving you a lot of different people. I mean, in terms of like who to network with, but the quality of your networks or how meaningful your connections are isn't necessarily a strong point. I mean, personally, I've seen like a lot of people have more than 500 connections, but how many people are you talking to? How many people are actually useful in that network to you on a daily basis? So our platform is sort of, to help people make those more meaningful connections by bonding over either similar interests or careers or whatever. So yeah.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much.
If I can squeeze in one more question. That was almost a clap. I suppose with the product and solution you're pitching there's a lot there. Ambition is good, but where do you actually start? How do you know which of these product feature sets is the thing that's going to get people stuck on Nexus?
I think we're planning to start with the notes because one of the feedback we got was networking is easier in groups. When there's a group of people the main topic at hand is easier to then talk about that than having to message someone who you really don't know and then not expecting a reply, not getting a reply. So I think it's the notes aspect which we found out during our problem validation helps out with networking.
Thank you.
Well, I was a 16-year-old boy when I first started learning about dieting and gymming and the environment, And like most people who started at the kind of age, they failed catastrophically. I realized that I wasn't alone in this respect when I realized just how difficult it was to die. And this is what Munchie is about. Here at Munchie, we envision a future 10 to 20 years in the future where automated, precise dieting is a reality. All that at a fraction of the cost of a dietitian. So, what is this problem we're trying to tackle at Munchie? Well, here at Munchie, here at this point in history, we're at a point where more people on average have more obesity compared to being underweight. And at this current point of history, 95% of people are obese, and the dieting industry is growing at an all-time high. What I'm presenting here is a problem that is bound to grow in size as the years go by. And even with such an extensive dieting industry, 95% of diets fail. Why? Well, we conducted some user validation, and these were some of the main concerns we've heard from them. We've heard concerns about how dieting is stressful and tiring, how current alternatives on the market, such as meal replacement drinks or like dietary supplements, are not rooted in scientific theory. So this is our MVP, and in fact, I can show you the app right now. This is our app, and what Munchie does is that it is an automated dieting software where users, based on their dietary preferences, nutritional needs, and what their fitness goals are, they can choose these kind of foods, and it automatically generates a diet for them. they can have this diet food shipped to your doorstep where they will be provided recipes that they can be used to cook with. So why is this asked? Why are we at the best point for this startup to happen? Well, there's a confluence of many different factors, right? Such as the data from the high group of medtech ecosystems allowing us to pursue more advanced analytics, or like the growth of online delivery services having proven certain business models that allow for this startup to work. So here's what we plan to do in the short term and the long term. The short term entails getting our MVP up, which I predict will be up in the beginning of May, and in the long term entails things like exploring to other verticals such as fitness analytics. So here's our competitor analysis, and this is a bit of an unusual one because while we recognize all these different brand names and how they work in the fitness and dieting industry, such as HelloFresh, who works in packaging in meal preparation, or MyFitnessPal and Noom, which work in the dieting app space, we're a little bit special in the sense that we occupy all three segments of the value chain, and that is our first competitive edge we have compared to all these companies. We face no direct competition, or direct competition are indirect, because this is the first kind of its service to offer dieting that's precise to this nature and integrates everything within one value chain. The second one is our proprietary technology, which is not easy to develop and access. And the third is the significant barriers of entry in terms of capital for entrants wishing to replicate our service lines. And that is really all. Thank you.
Maybe just jump in first. Could you just tell us a little bit more about yourself, the team building it?
What?
Just tell us a little bit more about you working on this project, kind of what role you have, what dependencies you have, if you need other people in the team, that kind of thing.
Well, currently I'm a solo founder, and what I think I would need is because I'm handling the technical side, so I myself am coding this MVP. So I think in terms of marketing and design, these are the two biggest things I would need. I think off the get-go, marketing is something I need in order for this to scale fast and for this idea to be tested, because I think I haven't seen, based on my research so far, I haven't seen a solution like this in the market, and so I'll need to quickly validate to see if like this assumption behind this business model will hold. Yeah.
And then in terms of jurisdictions, have you looked in terms of what's happening globally, other competitors outside of the UK, or if there's anything like that working well, I suppose, in other countries?
In terms of diet personalization, most meal preparation companies I've noticed in outside of the UK, personalization really only extends to things like offering pre-packaged meal boxes with fixed calories. But therein lies the issue where like dieting as a whole for certain groups of people aren't precise enough. So while dieting, like they personalize your dieting according to the amount of calories you can take in. Calories are more than just like a unit of energy. So we have to take into account like the thermic effects of fats, proteins, or carbohydrates. And this is where my startup disrupts and it's different from the rest of the companies.
Charlotte? Okay, hi guys. First of all, can I please get a show of hands of who here has experienced back pain or backache? For example, one other desk. Wow. Okay, now keep them up if you've actually done something about it. Okay, interesting, because what you'll find is that actually 80% of adults will at some point experience back pain in their lives. What's more is that it's grown into the world's leading cause of disability. Yet, 77% of our own interviewees who currently experience back pain don't even know where to start to solve it. And that's a very painful problem to have. At Curve, we're solving this. We've designed a smart undergarment which senses your back posture. This pairs with our app, which allows you to track your back posture in real time, learn about your back posture by interacting with your data, and finally train your back posture through a personalized exercise routine. We're able to deliver this personalization because we use strain sensors. this is a market first for posture. And what's more important is that it allows us to map your whole spinal curve. We can then take this data to learn about how your spine moves, to really create an exercise plan that's truly tailored to your body, really strengthening your weakest muscle groups. Businesses are taking employee physical health more seriously than ever, and no doubt, the average US business loses equivalent of £1,300 per employee per year to back pain. What's more interesting actually is that we spoke to a software engineering company who's spending $1,000 per employee just to safeguard their physical health. So we're doing B2B. Our business model is actually very simple. Hardware-enabled SaaS, it's called. But really, it's £100 for the curve. This gives you access to our basic plan. That includes track and learn. £5 a month, you're upgraded to Pro. You get trained. There's personalized business plans.
Our product is precise. It maps a posture, while competitors are not able to differentiate between leaning forward and slouches. As a bonus point, it's light and stretchable, and you can wear during any exercise, compared to competitors' limited use. Our team is able to develop a scalable device. Rohan has previously worked with the same technology and developed wrist wearable. I'm a postgraduate medical engineer. Ed is an award-winning data scientist. Keen has worked within NHSX. And Neil has had his own posture-based dropshipping business. We already have 100 people signed up for their waiting list in a single week. And we have the technical ability to deliver the prototype within a month. We are searching for mentors experienced in a hardware field to manufacture and deliver curve to the market. So join us and part of the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. So answer any questions that you may have. So, what can we tell you?
I'll go first. Oh, sorry, no, you go, you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said 77% of people don't know where to start with how to solve the back pain.
Of our interviews, people we've reached out to as well.
Okay, so how do you feel if, even though they know they do have that pain, they're kind of indifferent to it, how do you feel like you can solve that to make them more...
So actually, interestingly, there were people who've been searching for a way to solve that problem. And searching a way to solve their back pain. Their real issue was that the information that they found was so unclear and really working cross purposes. So what they're really looking for is a single, all-in-one, all-inclusive plan, where essentially, like any other great product, they don't have to think as a consumer. They can just do, and they receive the result they get, or what they want.
And just to add to that these exercises are personalized, and most of the time when you have back pain, you go on Google, you try to find an article that fits you, but in itself, back pain is quite complex. You've got different muscles in the back, so you're trying to target which ones you actually need to improve on.
I think also current solutions don't actually provide like actionable feedback to actually fix things. They might make you aware that you have bad posture, but they don't tell you kind of precisely how to go about kind of counteracting that. So.
Would you like to go?
Sure, thank you. That was so great, thank you so much. My first question is about product stickiness. So it sounds like people can initially get an enormous amount of value from using your product for a specific amount of time. They get the feedback, they do certain exercises that tells them what muscles are weakest, etc. What then motivates people to continue using your product after they have got the initial information that they need?
That's actually a great question, and that's something we really thought about. First of all, what you'd find is that back pain will last anywhere from 4 weeks to years. So you really have a very wide array of users in terms of their need, in terms of like I suppose their temporal need, right? So how long they actually need to use it for. So within that, you'd find that actually, I believe 20% of all users, or for 20% of all users, back pain really becomes a chronic problem throughout their lifetime. So product stickiness is there, for a certain subsection. But even for those for whom it doesn't necessarily become chronic, it's essentially the product will still stay with them for life, because it may come and go, and it often does.
But it wouldn't just keep delivering the same result of this is your weak muscle group.
That's actually a good question. I suppose that it would essentially the way it works is that you first assess whether your posture is healthy. So if your posture is healthy, great, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, then I see what you mean. Is like it could just keep giving thumbs up all the time, which is also nice.
Yeah.
But yeah. But as what you find with especially with the sedentary lives that we lead, sitting on desks all day long,
Yeah.
your muscles tend to atrophy in certain ways,
Yeah.
and it's therefore it would naturally fit into modern life.
Yeah.
So you need to keep working the muscles actually.
Thank you.
We have a question. Would you like to go?
Oh no, there's someone.
Okay. How long do you have to wear it to actually get feedback on what you have? Like, do you have to, I guess it's quite complex, or maybe the nature of back pain. Like, do you have to wear it when you're working, when you're maybe moving stuff, but do you have to wear it all the time, or?
Yeah, sure, I guess that kind of remains to be seen because when you actually make the product. But I would say that, I'd say that obviously kind of the more you wear it, the more data it will have, the better it will perform, the kind of better feedback it will give you. But I think that obviously, yeah, if you get anything meaningful out of it, you'll need to wear it for a significant amount of time. But if you just put it on for a day of work, for example, it's constantly collecting data, in my mind, that would probably be enough to give you some good analytics about what's wrong with your posture.
You just do it. Move on.
So,
and then you know your exercises, you know what's wrong. And
yeah, you can. Yeah, I guess it's kind of related to the kind of whole lifetime of what the consumer does over the course of it. But yeah, maybe they fix it in one way, but then they develop other things. You know, that all does remain to be seen.
And then, quick question at this time: who would be your initial target customer? I suppose is it students, workplaces? Yeah.
I think based on our interviews, we actually interviewed a software development company, and they mentioned that one of their biggest risk factors is posture itself. So we saw this as our early adopters, and we want to reach out to software development companies to begin with, and then reach out to other businesses, and then down the line, potentially look at consumers itself once we gain economies of scale.
And to add to that, we actually did think about going to B2C first. And we actually envisioned our first early adopters to be gamers and gym goers. People sit down a lot, but because we saw early adopters as, okay, how can we maximize your fun, right? Now, if you're gaming 8 hours, you want to do that comfortably. If you're gymming, you want to be enjoying gym, and you don't want to have to worry about your posture, for example, while squatting. So that's how we really envisage our product. How can we provide you the most fun, but in a way, business, pivoting to business, we're actually providing the least pain. So just to add to Neil's comments, that actually we've interviewed a plethora, like a lot of gamers, a lot of gym goers, and actually only after going through that process did we really decide, okay, B2B is really where we see our early adoption. Naturally, because we're doing hardware with economies of scale, we actually hope to make our price point cheaper, and then hopefully at some point down the line actually access the B2C market. But really we're focused on improving ourselves in a smaller market first. We're very well, and that's really what's the most important to us.
Thanks.
All right, how's everyone? All good? Okay. Right, so hi, I'm Jacob, and today I'd like to talk to you about our project where we aim to democratize art education. So imagine, how do you interact with galleries? How do you interact with art? How does it start? Well, it starts with you making a choice, you deciding which gallery you visit. And how do you really choose that? Do you just go to the large ones, or how does that really occur? But then it's a question of different people will have different personal tastes, and they will want to go into different galleries, right? So the artistic journey is a very personal thing. I mean, when you go to a gallery, what is the gallery journey about? You go to a gallery, and then Some people like to have the art and the paintings interpreted for them, others do not want to have that. It's a very personal journey. And so when you're in this gallery and you're observing these paintings, you have them interpreted, what you really care about is also the context, right? You want to know who painted them, when they were painted, what is the style. And then once you finish with the gallery visit, what do you do? How do you finish this sort of engagement with art? Well, you probably go to a cafe or you talk to your friends and you discuss the interpretations, you discuss the ideas that you got when you engaged with the art. And so as you can see, this is a very complex issue, and it's a very sort of a long journey that you go through, and there's many aspects to it. And so what we aim to do is create a full-feature solution that tackles each of these specific steps in the artistic journey. So let's start it off. So initially, the main idea where we actually create the symbiosis and where we create the complementary power of these 4 solutions in one is that you will have an app. You will go to the museum or the art, and you will pull up an app. You will pull up the app, and you will scan the painting, and you will get a match. You will get the painting description. Now, with this description, what you can do is you can mark this as a favorite if you like it or not, and you can create your own collection. You will create your own collection walls. You can have different styles or different times where you visited them, if you like them or didn't like them, and you create your sort of own digital copy of your own preferences. So once we have this data and we know about your own personal states, we can start utilizing them. And so that's where the second thing that we're tackling comes in, and that's the context that you want to know. Because we know what sort of styles of art you like and how developed you are in education as well, because you can tell that to us in a questionnaire in the app, we can tailor the painting background and context we give you, as well as the interpretation. As I said, some people do not like their art to be interpreted, so we'll not give that to you. Some do, and they might like it in different styles, depending on their art experience. Then the third issue we're tackling was making the choice of where do you actually go, which gallery do you choose. And because we know your style, and we know what you like and you didn't like, we can give you a personalized recommendation of which galleries you should visit, as well as we can give you a location-based sort of popular recommendation based on what's popular on the app, as well as we can tell you, oh, you like this painting by this painter in this town. Oh, and now you're in this town. Well, there's a similar painting as well in this specific gallery. Last but not least, is that because we know what your style is, we can also recommend small, underrepresented galleries which you would have never come across, because you just go to the big ones, right? Because that's where you expect, that's where you expect the stuff that you like to be. So lastly and not least, as I said, the important thing is that we are social animals and we like to talk about stuff, we like to discuss stuff. And so we want to create a community. So with each of these paintings, you will have this sort of tweet-like comment threads where your friends or just random people are commenting and they're interpreting the art, giving their own opinions. And you will just see that straight away. You go into the gallery, you scan it, and you can straight away see interpretations made by the community, as well as we would have curated reviews by professionals, and there could be actually people that come to the platform as an amateur, but then they become professionals and they make a living out of it. I mean, they definitely make sort of an influence type career out of it if they want to. In terms of the competition, there is a couple of apps that want to do the same thing, and I mean, they want to tackle these, but they never actually tackle all of these 4. Primarily, nobody wants to build a community, and also nobody wants to create a personalized. I mean, Google Art is sort of trying to do that, where you can mark something as favorite, but that's all it really does, and you have it in a collection. So nobody's really tackling the personalization as well as building the community or making the app or the platform be built up bottom up from the community and not top down. In terms of sort of a proof of concept, there's other ventures where this has been proved to work. One of which could be, for example, wine tasting, or even book reviews and movie and TV shows, where the community sort of reviews and collects different art forms as well as products. In terms of the team, we have Anna here, not here, but we have Anna. She's a mobile app developer since her high school days, but then we have also David, who is sort of a data expert. He has been doing stuff in deep learning as well as computer vision. And then there's me, where I have managed teams ranging from 3 to 27 members. And so that's where I would step in. And so now, where are we? So what are the next steps? So we're not far, but I think we might be onto something, as in the only thing that we sort of need to do now for an MVP is to find out what sort of business model do we want to go for, and what value proposition are we going to have to whom. One of the ways would be to target galleries specifically and try to do a business-to-business, but we might also think of doing a community platform and trying to look at the customers or the gallery visitors first. And once we sort of tackle that, this is sort of our ask, once we tackle that, we then will be able to decide which of those 4 solutions that I talked about is the most important one, most useful one, and most feasible one to do first, which would then be our MVP. So these are the sort of 4 branches which we could take. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, let me know now or later, or any comments, any advice, or you can use any of these contacts to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of the 4 potential avenues that you might go down, what is your hunch for which one is like the most painful problem that you think that you need to solve first?
As in painful, as in the most difficult one, or the one that is the most original and makes us most competitively advantageous?
Neither of those. The one that your customer most wants. Like, of those 4 things, which one do you think that you would put out and the customers are like, yes, I want this one the most?
We believe that it's the collecting of your own personal gallery. Because I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I believe a lot of people, when they go to galleries, they would take a photo of a painting. And I mean, so people are already doing this, and this would be just an extension to that. And then also the community aspect, because it's the personalization and the community aspect. Because one of the interesting things is that all of the other competitors, they're doing this sort of top-down approach, where they give you most of the content, most of the interpretations, most of the information. Yeah. But if you would start with a community aspect, where people would just take a photo of something and they would just, I don't know, they do a 100-word tweet about it, you are building the information, the interpretation from bottom up, and you're getting content for free, essentially. Yeah. So I would say that it's one of these 2.
Thank you for a really interesting pitch. I think I can relate to a collecting piece, because the amount of times I've been in a gallery taking a picture of something and then never looked at it ever again. Whereas in social, it gives that a bit of second life and connects it to something. But the team slide was really strong, and I can see how you've landed here and how you can make progress. I'm going to come back to the same question that I always do when it comes to team, but what's the gap? What do you guys need?
Right, so what do we need? I think currently it's really deciding where we start off on the technical side, because I mean this is a sort of a full feature app with many aspects. So currently we would need advice on which thing should we pursue first, and then how do we actually monetize this? Because I mean, you don't, in our opinion, you don't want to create a subscription model where we would monetize the people, but you would rather think of, okay, do galleries want to promote their content, and especially maybe start off with small galleries that might really take advantage of this promotion feature. So these are, so as was sort of the last slide, it's really confirming which of these which of these roads should we take.
Thank you.
Can I ask one final question? When you say you want to find advice for which of those 4 your MVP should focus on? What do you mean?
I mean, ideally, we're looking for connections in the industry, because as you can see, none of us are from the art space. So that's one thing. But then another, it would be probably doing user research. Maybe like one of the ideas that we have, but we haven't yet executed it. It's like communicating with the University of Arts and just see what those students, for example, like. Because I mean, that's also like one of our target audience. It's the students. Because I mean, for example, Goodreads for books, I would say it's most used by students currently. And so that's sort of what I mean when by advice.
My biggest piece of advice would be to identify who your potential target customer is and just do as much user research as you can. Like that will get you to the answer as fast as you want.
Would you recommend doing a sort of user interviews one by one, or rather, because we have done user interviews one by one, and we found them much more like enlightening than just like huge questionnaires. Because in this sort of problem, it's really.
I find I think for like EF teams, for example, when they're doing their customer discovery, it's literally months of obsessively speaking to their users and asking them incredibly open-ended questions until they find that actually they're all saying the same thing, which is we want to have a space to curate the pictures that we take of paintings and galleries. And like if you have a focus group, for example, you might be more likely to have people all like someone says something and they're like yeah, when actually they don't think that. So try and, I mean, you have your first customer here. So, I mean, go speak to him after, and like, honestly, it will be the quickest way that you'll find out what the main problem is that you should be solving. That'd be my advice. Thank you so much. That was great.
Those were the 6 startups for now. And then we'll open up for networking. Everybody gets to chat, and we'll be waiting for a decision from the judges. There will be an announcement, and then foods are there. We're bringing some foods there as well, and have fun. Thank you.